Hey, what is going on, guys? So today on the channel I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've been using my new 10.2 inch 7th generation iPad for school. So maybe this video might help you a little bit figuring out maybe you could possibly go laptopless this next upcoming semester or so. So I got this iPad back in November and I barely started using it for school since that semester was finishing up, but the spring semester is now finished, so I've had a full semester of using this iPad. So here are my thoughts about it and how I get stuff done for school purposes on it. So my ultimate goal here was to go paperless. That means no paper notes, no paper textbooks, things like that. Pretty much all assignments nowadays are turned in electronically, so you need something like Microsoft Office so you can type stuff up. And my other goal was to see if I didn't need to use my laptop. So let's talk about if I was able to achieve those goals. So the first thing I need for school here is storage. So my storage solution here is the Apple Files app as well as Google Drive. So I store all of my school related things in those two locations. And of course the Files app can be connected to your Google Drive, even in your Dropbox. So you can access all your files in there. And the Files app integrates a lot better into iPadOS, of course, than Google Drive does. This makes it easier to find your files and also be able to attach files to maybe an email or even turn in things that you've been working on. So that is my storage solution for school, and it's been working very good here on the iPad. Now, to complete assignments, usually most of the time you're going to need Microsoft Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. And I was very surprised to start using the versions on iPad because they are very, very similar to the actual Mac and PC versions. I do not have a keyboard for this iPad. So one thing I did not do is type on it that much. Now the on-screen keyboard was good for maybe a quick assignment or something like that, but if I was typing a several page long paper, I will admit I did use my laptop for that. But if I did pay the $150-$60 for the keyboard that can go with this iPad, I probably would have had no issues whatsoever. But let's face it, that keyboard is kind of expensive when we're trying to be working on the budget iPad here. But Microsoft Office overall works great. A lot of the functions are still there, and it's really nice that it is pretty much identical to the Mac and PC versions. Now, most schools, like colleges for example, have an online learning system. So this is where you can access all your course materials and resources, and it's also where you can take quizzes and turn in assignments. Now with iPadOS, we do get full desktop class browsing. So that is obviously something that has helped out a ton because now the online learning system that my school uses works flawlessly. I can take tests, I can view material, I can even download stuff from it to the Files app. So the desktop class browsing has really helped out a whole lot here. Now the next thing is textbooks. So bringing back this whole paperless concept, I've always enjoyed reading on the Books app on my iOS devices. But most of my textbooks are not available on the Books app. But don't worry, there are plenty of other solutions that we can try to actually get my textbooks. And this time I was able to get all my textbooks completely digital through several apps. So the first app I like to use a lot is the Chegg e-reader app. So if you know Chegg, they have great discounts on textbooks, and they have an e-reader app that is available for your iPad and your iPhone. So I use the Chegg e-reader app. I have a couple of my books in there and it works perfectly. The thing I love about iPadOS now is the split screen view. So I could have my textbooks open on one side, and then on the other side I could have notes, or I could have an assignment, or something like that. And then you could also have something in slide over. So that really is awesome, but we'll talk about that stuff here in a moment. Another app I like to use is the Kindle app. I've recently started finding some textbooks on there, and the Kindle app has been a great app for a long time, and it's great to read on it as well. Now here's a big one that a lot of people are going to want to know about is note taking. So I did get the Apple Pencil first generation, and I also downloaded GoodNotes 5. Now sometimes I use the Apple Notes app, but most of the time I find myself using GoodNotes because, well, it's just a lot better in my opinion. So GoodNotes 5 has really changed the way that I take notes. I mean, being able to highlight stuff, add shapes, diagrams, colors, different, just you can do anything. Drop a quick diagram in from your textbook. I mean, the possibilities are endless. It's really changed how I take notes, and I think it's actually helped me learn better and take better notes. Yes, GoodNotes is like $8 to buy it, but it is well worth it. I made a video about the Apple Pencil first generation and more about GoodNotes. You can check that out on the channel, but that is my note-taking solution. If you don't want to buy GoodNotes 5, well, there's also Notability, or if you just want the free something, the Apple Notes app does a good job as well. I mean, you can put lines on the notepad and all that, so it works fine. And it's great because you can be on a lock screen, tap the pencil, and jot down a quick note. Okay, so split screen and slide over has really changed multitasking here on the iPad. Like I said earlier, I love having my notes open on one side and the textbook open on the other. I can jot down notes from the textbook no problem. And this is one reason why I wanted a bigger screen iPad compared to the iPad mini 5. It's better to take notes in the split screen on a bigger screen than the iPad mini. So that may be something to consider. And then also I can have slide over. Maybe I need to reference some lecture slides real quick or change my song or something like that. So I really love multitasking here on the iPad. Now, there's only a few problems here, just 2 problems with the iPad for school. Number 1 is other external learning sites. So some sites like Pearson or McGraw, you may use some of those. Those are publishers, but they also have other learning things. I'm not sure the right word for it, but you can get an account and get access to it, access codes, and you can go on there. Some of those sites are not Safari friendly. Even with desktop class browsing, they want to use cookies and all that crap. So those sites, I will be honest with you, I did use Chrome on my Mac to do those. And then the other thing too is typing. Now I'm not saying typing's bad. The on-screen keyboard is great. The problem is buying a keyboard for this thing. The Apple Smart Keyboard for this is like $160. And when you're buying the budget iPad and you're buying something that costs 1/3 of the price of it, it's just a little bit crazy to me. Now there are other solutions. You could get a cheap Bluetooth keyboard, but it's much more convenient to have a case, of course. So what are my thoughts here about the iPad for school? Well, you can definitely go paperless with this. It's great for note-taking. It's great for your textbooks. It's even great to do assignments and turn them in. And overall, I would say that the iPad is just about replacing my laptop. I'm telling you, I've been saying this a long time. If they would just put macOS on this thing, I think it would be amazing, but Apple's never going to do that. But iPadOS is so good. It's such a step up from the previous, iOS 12. So yeah, this thing is really powerful now, and you could get an even better iPad and possibly do more with it. So guys, those are my thoughts here about the iPad for school use. Let me know, do you use an iPad for school, note-taking, books, whatever? Let me know in the comments below. But anyways guys, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching as always. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next video.